Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Olanjinga, and usually you'd see me on your TV screens covering rugby, so today is a special day for me, a departure from that, and really special as a Land Rover owner. I join you from the stunning Jaguar Land Rover Experience facility in Lone Hill, Johannesburg. We hope this special program will help you understand what makes the new Land Rover Defender so special and share with us an incredible passion for this unique vehicle. Before we get started, we have some words of welcome from a very special guest.
Welcome to all of you to the digital reveal of the new Defender. I'm Bear Grylls and I have been a proud global ambassador for Land Rover since 2014. For me, it really is an honour to welcome you to this event and share with you some of the other amazing Land Rover ambassadors. Land Rover is all about adventure. It's about going the extra mile above and beyond. And for me, adventure has always been at the heart of so much of my life, ever since I can remember. And that's why I'm so proud that we share these values together, values of endeavour and community and family and adventure. Today we're introducing you to the most capable Land Rover ever created and bringing it to Africa. It's a groundbreaking vehicle that's going to open up endless new frontiers for those of us who love the wild places. Stay safe, everyone, and enjoy the show.
Can you believe it? Bear Grylls. That's amazing. Now, before we get things rolling with some films which delve deep into Land Rover and Defender's history, both in the UK and Africa, remember to stay tuned to the live stream and follow the Land Rover South Africa social media channels for a chance to win some incredible prizes, including the new GoPro Hero 8.
Well, it all started in the bay here, Red Wharf Bay in Anglesey. We used to come here for our holiday periods. My father met his brother on the beach and was explaining a concept of a new idea for a go anywhere, do anything vehicle. And he made a drawing in the sand of an outline of how he thought the Land Rover could be made. That was the start of it all, the conception of Land Rover.
The Land Rover is a worldwide recognised shape. To have it drawn out larger than anybody's ever done it before, for posterity, is an interesting concept, and one which I don't suppose is ever again going to be repeated, as might be said of people designing vehicles in the sand.
Okay then guys, time's coming in, let's go! Yeah, got it. Over to you, Stephen. Let's finish it off.
I think it's safe to say we all knew a bit about Land Rover's origins, but that film really paints quite a detailed picture. Before computers, car designers used the tools they had. The original Land Rover's first technical drawing was in the sand. Well, up next are two more short films that clearly demonstrate how tough the Defender's genes really are. And remember, the new Defender promises to be the toughest Land Rover ever created. So keep that in mind when you see what its ancestors could withstand.
By road from London to Singapore, more than 18,000 miles by Land Rover. The Oxford and Cambridge Far Eastern Expedition set up a new record. And not only a record of enormous distances, but of a journey through every kind of terrain that Europe, the Middle East and Asia could offer. Bridges, once built to take an army but now rotting, must be tested inch by inch before being entrusted with the Oxford and Cambridge Land Rovers. Not all the bridges have stood the test of time on this unused road. No wonder it takes a couple of hours to travel 15 miles. Here, the Land Rovers met their first elephant bridge, which is something of a special driving test, requiring not only a good eye, but an iron nerve.
The Series 1 was absolutely vital.
absolutely vital. I don't think we could have, I'm sure we couldn't have done the journey in anything else.
The Land Rovers were absolutely fundamental. If we hadn't had the Land Rovers, we couldn't have done it.
So, my friends, I know that the water is very dirty down there in that swamp. I was there yesterday afternoon. This is a life straw. It's for clean drinking water. My friend here, George, is going to demonstrate. We've reached the town of Munilunga. Not much here. We managed a bit of stringy beef and some maize meal type porridge, and now it's a fuel stop. The pumps aren't working anymore, so you buy this sort of illegal stuff in yellow containers. And they strain it through a green cloth sieve. Let's hope it's the right stuff.
Can you imagine driving 29,000 kilometers from London to Singapore in 1956 with no aircon? Crazy. But Land Rover proved it could be done and set a record doing it. And Kingsley Holgate's epic African adventures are equally impressive. Much more on the Holgate Foundation to come in a little bit. Now, as you learn throughout the show, Land Rover and the Defender in particular have done some great things in delivering humanitarian aid. A partnership between Land Rover and the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies dates back to 1954. Let's look at some of the successes the partnership has seen more recently in Africa. That concludes our first segment on heritage. We hope that helps you understand a little bit more about the bloodline the new Defender is built upon. Back in a moment. Welcome back. Iconic in name, shape, and capability, this is how we describe the new Defender. But how do you reinvent something so iconic? How do you reinterpret such a recognizable silhouette? The new Defender needed to retain historic design cues and capture its essence, but at the same time be styled for the moment and capable of handling the demands of modern adventure.
How do you redefine an icon? Push harder. Dig deeper. You go above and beyond. You capture its very essence. Then, you reimagine it. You design, engineer, and build it without compromise. Until you've created a vehicle that's absolutely of the moment.
Jerry McGovern, Land Rover's chief designer, had a difficult challenge in ensuring some defining features of every previous Defender were incorporated into this new version. As he puts it, the new Defender is respectful of its past, but not harnessed by it. Items such as an externally mounted spare wheel, side-hinged tailgate, alpine windows, and even one of its color options all give a nod to series Land Rovers and Defenders of days gone by. I'm told the side-hinged tailgate was subjected to 30,000 test slam cycles in temperatures ranging from -30 to 80 degrees Celsius to ensure it can cope with the demands of supporting a full-size spare wheel. But let's not take Land Rover's own testing team's word for it. Before becoming showroom ready, the new Defender was tested extensively in the real world by the tusk conservation experts in Kenya, as well as by the Red Cross in Dubai. Here are a pair of feel-good films which show how Land Rover entrusted partners to feed back on how new Defender coped with practical tests in the real world before it ever met the hands of customers.
Borana's the perfect place to test the new Defender simply because it's got incredible diversity of terrain. Tusk partnership with Land Rover goes back over 15 years. Tusk is an African wildlife conservation charity. We want to use this year to really highlight the plight of the lion. We are now in a situation where we've got less lion in the wild than we have rhino. And I think that is a pretty shocking indictment.
As a Kenyan myself, I had no idea until I started working here. But we've only got 20,000 lion left in the world. It's crazy.
The lion is actually Kenya's national animal, so it's intertwined with us as a people. On Borana, we have a team that's dedicated to tracking and monitoring lions, and they have to be able to go where the lions go and make sure that they're safe.
The process of tracking and monitoring lions involves fitting of GSM devices, which we normally call collars, which are able to tell you where the animal goes and what it is doing.
When it comes to collaring lion or tracking lion at any point, they're hardly ever on the road. So that means that we need a vehicle that's capable of going off-road in quite an adventurous situation.
It involves moving in with a full veterinary team. This team will use a tranquilizer dart, and the animal will be out for around 40 minutes to maximum 1 hour.
While we're in there, we take a lot of interesting measurements and a few blood samples and things just to keep up on the lion's general health.
And now you have this data which will help you better manage the animal.
The new Defender has demonstrated its skills in every environment that Mother Earth can throw at a vehicle.
When you see lion cubs and know that we have new lions in the landscape, I can see that I'm making a difference.
Big cats are the epitome of all the cats in that line of evolution. They are magnificent, they are beautiful, they are wonderful to be with. Us as the human race should make every opportunity for future generations to enjoy the same spectacle of nature we are so privileged to witness and observe.
This year we are back to test capability of the new Defender.
This is where the first Land Rovers came. They absolutely explored this region, so it's only fitting that we come here to test this new vehicle, push it to its limits, because that's what the new Defender's all about. It's really important to make sure that our vehicles are tested at the extreme, that the new Defender is absolutely at home here, is durable and reliable, and can drive anywhere again and again.
Mostly our role is to work with our volunteers worldwide. We deliver assistance in very difficult terrain to the affected and vulnerable communities in a safe and secure way.
The new Defender is the most capable Land Rover ever. It sits on 815mm tyres, which give a very large contact patch. It's fantastic on sand and incredibly smooth on the road as well, which is so important when Red Cross volunteers drive such long distances to reach people in need.
We are in 191 countries. Last year, we were able, globally, to cover more than 13 million kilometers.
The agility on road is amazing. The engineers are obsessed about making this the most dynamic vehicle to drive. You can drive this car for hundreds of miles a day, absolutely effortlessly.
Our teams drive long hours and cover many miles to be able to deliver assistance.
The Red Cross is a perfect partner because these guys push the extremes all the time.
The Red Cross operates in some of the most hardcore-rich places on Earth. Together with Land Rover, we can reach people in crisis wherever they are.
Stunning. Most car fans will know that new vehicles go through extensive testing procedures behind lock and key, but it's just beautiful how Land Rover was able to perform some of these tests and do some good at the same time. Thanks to Tusk and the Red Cross for the work they do. Up next, we have some words from Chief Designer Jerry McGovern.
Hello from our Product Development Centre here in the UK. So this is the new Land Rover Defender 110. It measures just over 4.7 metres, and it is the toughest Land Rover ever created. Its silhouette is unmistakable. It's a modern interpretation of the originals. Its proportions have been optimized to achieve a well-balanced design, and with its minimal front and rear overhangs and high sill, deliver supreme all-terrain capability. Its line work has a horizontal emphasis, horizontal roofline, waistline, upper feature line, and lower lines, which are contrasted by the formality of the front and the sheer verticality of the rear. That horizontal emphasis continues with the squared off wheel arches, both front and rear, and this very distinctive floating pillar, which is deliberately anchored over the rear wheel to give the vehicle its planted, strong and purposeful appearance. The face of the vehicle is very characterful. It communicates strength and confidence, which is accentuated by the simple geometric forms of the headlamps that underplay their highly technical nature. The grille is clean and reductive. And for the first time ever on a Land Rover, we have an inset bonnet, which has given us the ability to create this beautifully sculpted fender, which runs the whole length of the body side, which in turn emphasizes the clean, unadorned surfaces and promotes the overall strength of the vehicle. Looking at the back of the vehicle, what is very noticeable is the sheer verticality, which is done to maintain that minimal rear overhang. You'll also notice this very hard corner, which is quite deliberate, which further accentuates the vehicle's upper shoulder section. The lamps, again, have a simple geometric form, which harmonize with the front. and also communicate the honest, no-nonsense design philosophy. Now, this is a Defender, so the spare wheel is mounted to the rear door, which is hinged from the side to protect that all-important minimal overhang. Now, every element of the new Defender's exterior design, from its sophisticated surfaces to its robust proportions, have been thoughtfully developed to underpin its peerless DNA. The interior is equally as compelling. It is highly functional, it's highly practical, and it's incredibly durable. We've deliberately exposed certain elements of the car's structure. For example, the cross-car aluminium beam, which runs the whole length of the front of the interior, and you can see that we've embossed the Defender logo into it. Look at the simple application of the screen. No-nonsense design, very functional. We've also exposed visible fixings on the doors and on the console mouldings in order, again, to demonstrate that sort of product design orientation. One of my favourite features are the grab handles. We have them here on the end, which actually, if you grab, you can feel how solid this vehicle is in terms of the way it's built. Those grab handles continue through on the console, so that when you're in this vehicle, if you are going on difficult terrains, you can hold yourself in really well. Highest quality materials, highest level of precision, and that reductive approach that has become a very strong feature of our overall design philosophy. Minimal switchgear, for example. So, continuing the theme of practicality, when we look inside the vehicle at the rear, you'll notice this rubberized material, which is highly practical, incredibly durable, and very easy to clean. You've noticed how we've flushed everything through, which aids the cleaning process. Also notice that we have up here the Alpine lights, which are pay homage to the original Defenders. Remember, at the back they have these, what we call these Alpine lights. And what those do is they flood light into the interior and make wherever you are in the interior a very nice place to be. So I hope that you understand what makes the new Land Rover Defender so special, and share with me an incredible passion for this unique vehicle. Reinventing an icon is no easy task, but I hope that you agree we've achieved it. I am absolutely confident that the new Land Rover Defender will be a huge success and a worthy successor to its unique predecessors. Thank you.
Now we're going to cross over to Jaguar Land Rover South Africa and Sub-Saharan African MD, Richard Gouvenier, who's in with some special guests who know a thing or two about helping communities and putting Defenders through their paces. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Richard Gouvenier, Kingsley and Ross Holgate from the Kingsley Holgate Foundation and the new Defender.
Kingsley and Ross, welcome to the Brand Experience Johannesburg. For anybody unfamiliar with Kingsley and Ross and the Holgate Foundation, this father-son duo have been instrumental in the humanitarian work they've done in all 54 African countries and beyond. These modern-day explorers use adventure as a means to improve and save lives across the African continent, and in particular in hard-to-reach places. And Land Rover is extremely proud to be the provider of the vehicles that enable these journeys.
Yes, Richard, we're so proud to be associated with Land Rover, and we will continue to use these Land Rover expeditions to save and improve lives. You know, our humanitarian efforts are firstly malaria, the distribution of malaria mosquito nets to pregnant mothers and to children under the age of 5, with a shocking statistic of a child dying every 2 minutes. You know, when we started with Land Rover, it was every 30 seconds. I know it sounds terrible, but that 30 seconds went to 1 minute. and the improvement now to 2 minutes. So we're truly making a difference together.
Absolutely.
Then it's the distribution of life straws, water purification devices to give people potable drinking water. And then, of course, that gift of a pair of spectacles, something that we take for granted, that gift of sight, where we distribute reading spectacles to the elderly and poor-sighted.
Yes, indeed. It's sometimes tough. It's not always easy, and we need to rely on Land Rovers to get us to these very remote places where little or no health services. It's like a touch of the heart when you get to a village, a mother screaming, a child dying, the nearest clinic 100 or 2 kilometers away by dugout canoe, lives that can be saved by a simple mosquito net, the life straws, and then, you know, the improvement to one's quality of life, something we so take for granted. As Ross said, you know, you walk into a pharmacist, you get a pair of reading glasses. But out there in those deep rural areas, how you can improve somebody's quality of life by the gift of spectacles, and more recently even helping with cataract operations. The other aspect of our work, as you so well know, Richard, is called CCE, Conservation Community Education. And it started with a simple A3 piece of paper, the outline of an elephant or a rhino, children colouring it in. You know, most of these schools that we go to have never had an art class. They don't have the art material, so it's an art class. It's all about education and about conservation. And to date, more than 500,000 children reached through this art messaging competition that's taken us across Africa. Of course, it includes soccer games and lots of fun. And as always, you know, using these Land Rover journeys to improve and save lives and add to the quality of people's lives. It's hugely appreciated, Richard. And with Ross and the team, we'll certainly continue to use these new Land Rover Defenders, this triumphant return of this icon reimagined, and we certainly will keep up the good work.
On that note, I'd like to make a formal announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, Land Rover will be continuing its sponsorship of the Holgate Foundation going forward. We're extremely proud of this sponsorship and proud to have these gentlemen on board in delivering and saving lives. The 2 discoveries that were used so successfully across Africa and most recently on the Cape to Kathmandu expedition will be retired. Kingsley and Ross will get behind the wheel of 2 brand new Defenders, the most capable Land Rovers ever produced. At a later date, we'll announce the next big expedition the Holgates will depart on. More of that later. But over to you, Kingsley. What does this partnership mean to you?
Well, we're extremely proud, Richard, and it's been such a long history. Geographic and humanitarian journeys have been really so much of our lives and been tough. We've risked lives to save lives on occasion. Yeah. But the Defenders, returning to the Defenders I mentioned early on, it's like a triumphant return to this iconic brand, and it's hugely meaningful to Ross and I, and we'll certainly keep up that spirit of adventure, those geographic and humanitarian journeys, and, you know, reminiscing, going back to where we've been with Defenders over the years, proudly displaying the flags of every single country on the African continent on those old Defenders, kids all getting to read their own country as they sort of travel through these countries. Yeah. Every single country on the African continent, that's where we've taken the Defenders, and of course, and beyond. You'll recall we took Defenders around the world following 23 degrees 27, the Tropic of Capricorn. Yeah. 10 countries around the world never missed a beat in those old Defenders. People can't believe it. They said, did you really do all this stuff? And I said, well, there it is. We proof of what one can do in a Defender. And then, you know, this icon reimagined and this incredibly bold statement. The best and most capable 4-wheel drive ever imagined. And we're going to be part of that. The moment is coming. We're going to be exposed to these new Land Rover Defenders, and believe me, we can hardly wait, Ross. It's wonderful excitement.
It's hugely exciting. You know, I grew up with Defenders. It's all I sort of knew, all those adventures. Then into Discoveries, we thought they were the most capable vehicles. And now back into this heritage vehicle, but as Kingsley says, completely reimagined with all the technology, but stuff that really works, and it will definitely make our geographic and humanitarian expeditions go above and beyond.
So in no time at all, be shown these new vehicles, and the moment it's possible, they'll be off on another world-first expedition so strongly linked to humanitarian causes, using these vehicles with a clear and important purpose to save and improve lives.
Thank you, Kingsley and Ross, for sharing those amazing stories with us. Well, we have the brand new Defender right behind us, so let's stand up and go and have a look.
Right, let's go.
Well, here it is, the all-new Defender. I hope you're as excited about this car as we are.
Richard, it just looks beautiful. It looks capable, tough, brave, everything that a Defender should be. Ross, what do you think?
So they truly do say that you've only got one chance to make a good first impression, and this is one of the most incredible impressions I've ever seen of a vehicle. It's unbelievable.
Yep, a new love affair, another Defender in our lives. And yes, to all at Land Rover, I'd just like to say congratulations on getting it right. Really well done on a piece of what we believe is technical wizardry. Is going to be trying it out. So yes, congratulations on a beautiful machine.
Well, same as you, Kingsley, this vehicle is capable of great things, and I'm pretty sure as you venture out into the unknown, you will make 100% sure that you deliver great things in this new Defender.
Wonderful. Thanks again, Richard.
Thank you, guys. Wow, I can't wait to hear more about Kingsley and Ross Holgate's new expedition vehicles. The new Defender and Kingsley Holgate are truly capable of great things. But that's a wrap for the design segment, and we'll be back to uncover some of the tech behind the new Defender. There's a recurring message you will hear in new Defender conversations. This vehicle represents adventure reinvented for the 21st century. Yes, we mean tech. And the new Defender is packed with it. As advanced as it is durable, new Defender embraces a number of high-tech developments to make off-roading simpler, connectivity stronger, and everyday life more convenient. Let's see how.
Equipped for 21st century adventures, Defender features our most advanced technologies to date, ensuring you and your passengers are always connected, informed, and entertained. Always ready and always on, Pivi Pro is our most intuitive infotainment system ever. This state-of-the-art innovation is more familiar, more responsive, and thanks to software updates, it's updated remotely to help ensure optimal performance. ClearSight Rearview Mirror is a cutting-edge technology which uses a live video feed from the roof antenna. So when your view is blocked, you can still see what's behind you. Whilst ClearSight Ground View helps you avoid obstacles in front of the vehicle with cleverly positioned cameras which seemingly let you see through the bonnet. Packaged into the center console, wireless device charging lets you easily charge your smartphone without having to plug it in, though several USB ports are also available. The Meridian sound system is also featured. It lets you feel every beat of every piece of music you want to listen to. Or opt for Meridian surround sound system, which uses strategically positioned speakers to ensure that wherever you sit in the vehicle, you get the same incredible experience. The head-up display presents key vehicle data on the windscreen, such as your speed or navigation directions. It features crystal clear graphics, enabling you to see all information with ease, including off-road driving information such as incline and camber angles. Combined with an interactive driver display, it puts key information right where you need it. Clever features such as cabin air ionization improve air quality by reducing allergens and airborne bacteria. Heated seats are available across all 3 rows, guaranteeing the warmest of welcomes. Our driver assistance features include blind spot assist, which will detect another car in your blind spot when you begin to change lanes. Adaptive cruise control will automatically keep your vehicle a safe distance from the vehicle in front, should it slow or stop when you're cruising or traveling in slow-moving traffic. The 3D surround camera provides 3D viewing perspectives from around the vehicle on the touchscreen that are otherwise impossible to obtain. without getting out of your Defender. And to make life even easier, the activity key now acts as a normal car key, allowing you to unlock and start your vehicle. On-road, matrix LED headlights with adaptive driving beam provide the ultimate in visibility, dimming segments of the beam over oncoming traffic to help prevent dazzling. So if you're in the middle of the concrete jungle or the back of beyond, Defender's technologies ensure you're always connected.
Absolutely amazing. Tell you what would also be amazing. Imagine being able to go back in time, back to 1947, when Maurice Wilkes drew his first iteration of a Land Rover in the sand. Imagine being able to tell him that so many years later, a Defender would have an invisible bonnet and would have cameras for a mirror. Talking about cameras for a mirror, might as well take a look at it and check if our special guest is here. We are expecting someone. Ladies and gentlemen, none other than Land Rover Global Ambassador, Brian Urbana.
Hello, X, the champion.
Good to see you, my friend.
Lovely to see you again. And I want to give you a hug, but COVID-19 protocols, so it's going to be virtual.
Well, it's a good catch-up, my brother. And good to see you too, Devin. I'm going to hand you over to Devin, who I'm sure you might have run into. He is the lead instructor here at the Land Rover Experience in Johannesburg, and he knows all about this incredible machine. So over to him.
Thanks, X.
Have fun.
Hello, Dev. Great to see you again.
Well, welcome to the most capable Land Rover ever made.
Cannot wait to hear all about it. I've always wanted Christmas in July. Doesn't get better than this, Dev.
Well, here we go. Welcome to our adventure park. It's an artificial off-road track designed to showcase some of the best of Land Rover's off-road technology. Our first little obstacle is going to showcase the air suspension, as well as the active E-differential, as well as the traction control. So the air suspension is going to keep you nice and level. So the air suspension's got a couple functionalities, from improving ride comfort to giving you off-road capability by lifting up, but also a self-leveling functionality. And this is where you can use the new 4x4 information to see what's happening underneath you. As you'll see the wheel articulation, the wheels are moving up and down. Now, believe it or not, this front right wheel is actually in the air.
No, man.
But yet the self-leveling functionality of the air suspension is keeping you nice and level. Okay, so our next little obstacle is our wading trough. A bit of an unusual sensation driving into water.
Very.
Cool. This vehicle has a maximum wading depth of 900 mils.
Yeah.
We're not going to be going into that today.
Okay.
But with the new Defender comes a new terrain response program called the wading program, which optimizes the vehicle for driving through deep water.
Yeah, not deep enough. But I think it's incredible the actual amount of information that you're constantly getting in real time, and in so doing, you know, just giving you that sense of comfort that you're not going to possibly get stuck in a trough of water.
Okay, so this is going to once again showcase the suspension in the car.
Yeah.
You'll also see on the 4x4 information, you'll see the E-differential lock and unlock as need be. It's a bit of an unusual sensation once again because the car is leaning at a funny angle, but you can see the angles come up there. Okay, so our next obstacle is what is known as a side slope. Cool. Now, this is going to be a little bit daunting. Generally speaking, anything over 12 degrees and a person becomes uncomfortable. What we're at here is we're at 30 degrees. A side slope is also the most dangerous part of off-roading. Cool. Because this is the most likely time that you can roll over.
Yeah.
Okay, so also on the 4x4 information, you'll be able to see what angle it gets to. Cool. So you can watch that climb.
Okay, I'm definitely working my core muscles here. Just a little bit.
All right, remember you're going to keep it nice and straight when coming off.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Keep it coming. This next obstacle is one of the most challenging ones we have on the adventure park. Cool. We're going to be lifting two wheels right up in the air. This is going to show you the massive wheel articulation that the Defender offers. But once again, the air suspension, the traction control, and the E-differential is looking after you. A little bit more. It's going to lean over now.
Just sit. That is insane!
And then we're going to take it nice and slowly down to the bottom. Look what we've got here.
Yeah, this looks scary.
It will be a little bit. You're going to be looking at the sky. It's a 30-degree incline.
Cool.
Followed by a 30-degree decline. And you can watch that on the 4x4 information. Maximum for this vehicle is 45 degrees. So we're still well within the limits of the car.
Okay.
We've got a very clever piece of technology. It's called hill descent control.
Yeah.
It's a system designed to regulate the vehicle speed for slippery downhills.
Okay.
So it will brake for you, but it'll brake individual wheels, keeping the wheels rotating so the car doesn't slide out of control.
Insane.
So how's that?
Dev, that was absolutely incredible. I honestly can't believe how easy this new Defender made what is a pretty challenging track. I think, looking at it, we're only scratching the surface of the actual capabilities of what this incredible vehicle can do. Thanks so much, Dev. You know, they say this is an icon reimagined. And if you look at the capabilities, you know, from what it can do on a 4x4 track, I think 70 years of innovation has led to one of the most impressive vehicles I've ever sat in. It's amazing how rugged this new Defender is, but for me, something that's incredibly impressive is how technologically advanced it is. So from a configuration perspective, you can have a 5, 6 or 7 seater, but then you've also got 12-volt domestic power units. You've got USB ports throughout each row, and not only is it USB, but there's USB-C as well. And with all these power outputs, you potentially can charge laptops, phones. So as an option, the new Defender can have a built-in 4G hotspot that's separate from your phone data, which means you can always be connected, and you can potentially, share your GoPro photos and adventures from almost anywhere in the world. So as X alluded to earlier in the show, make sure you're following, and you could potentially stand in line to win a GoPro Hero 8. So I'm going to be enjoying a bit more of the technological advances in this new Defender. X, over to you.
Truly, a Defender for 21st century adventure. Brian and the Defender made all of those off-road obstacles look easy, but there's an important element we cannot forget: tires. Here's Jaguar Land Rover Experience Johannesburg General Manager Sean Renton to tell us a little bit more.
Hello everyone, I'm Sean Renton, the General Manager of Experience Johannesburg. I've been working with the Jaguar and Land Rover brands for 18 years. From on-road performance to off-road exploration, it's important to remember one key component that enables our vehicles to do what they do best. That's tyres. I've seen the first-hand difference tyres can make to the way a vehicle performs, whether it's a perfect lap around the circuit or crossing the Savuti. So when it comes to the new Defender, the most capable Land Rover ever created, it's critical that the tyres can meet the demands of the vehicle itself. As a factory-fit OEM supplier, Goodyear has played a major role in ensuring the Defender is up to the task. With its Goodyear Wrangler Adventurer, which can be found on Defenders in African showrooms today, Goodyear has developed a versatile tyre that offers confident grip and toughness needed to tackle Africa's hardest conditions. DuraWall technology resists sidewall punctures and cuts. Aramid overlay reinforces the tread. Open shoulder blocks in the tread pattern help evacuate mud and allow strong off-road traction. Available as an approved aftermarket fitment, Goodyear Wrangler DuraTrack takes things up a notch in the off-road environment. Tractive Groove technology delivers enhanced traction in mud, but still quiet on the tarmac surface, thanks to its tread pattern design. Angled center tread blocks help to maintain lateral stability even on uneven terrain, and self-cleaning shoulder blocks evacuate gravel, dirt and mud on the fly. Just a quick note to Goodyear on behalf of Land Rover and the Experience team for providing us with the tyres we need to demonstrate just how capable the new Defender is. Thanks.
Let's take a break. When we're back, we'll get into what the Defender's really about: capability. So, as mentioned previously, this vehicle promises to be the most capable and durable Land Rover ever made. Now that's saying quite a lot, considering that Land Rover has 7 decades of off-road history under its belt. In a previous segment, we studied the new Defender's design and aesthetic. Now, let's take a look under its skin. And in order to help us do that, here's Land Rover's engineering chief, Nick Rogers.
I'm really excited to be here with you this evening and really appreciate you making the time. So, welcome to the HQ of Land Rover. This is where we create the pioneering vehicles that conquer every corner of the globe. So a few things first. I'm Nick Rogers. I have the honour of looking after the engineering organisation for Land Rover, and sharing this new Defender with you is simply one of the proudest moments in my career. I've been with the company for over 3.5 decades, and we have worked tirelessly to deliver pioneering, passionate vehicles with real substance. And tonight, the new Defender is absolutely that. As Jerry took you through, we believe it's going to be an iconic design, but it's got so much beneath the skin. The substance is truly there. This is a vehicle you can take anywhere. This is a vehicle of adventure. This vehicle is just made for functionality. We're really, really excited that this vehicle has the shortest front end overhang you could ever imagine. A wheel is truly at every single corner. This means that this vehicle has simply the best approach angle. Over 45 degrees, you can drive straight up almost absolutely anything. The capability this car has is absolutely amazing. The minute you put any input into the steering wheel, and you will find this when you drive the new car, when you drive it later and you really feel this car, you will feel the connectivity of a car that simply feels incredibly agile. But one of the other things about the Land Rover, and we've pushed for the Defender, to bring a smile on your face every minute of the day. Whenever you see anybody in one of the old Land Rovers, they've been on the road for over 70 years. The Land Rover was the vehicle that conquered all four corners of the earth. It was the vehicle that many was the first they ever saw, and it went to every corner of the globe, and people got to understand the shape. This vehicle can drive over anything. It is so capable and can go on any terrain you can dream of. And you can see this vehicle, look at the stance, look at the width, look at the solidity of this car that it's got. Also with this vehicle, look at the package, look at the occupant package you've got. Incredibly long wheelbase, incredibly compact car, and the cabin space is simply amazing. You can see the model that we have here. This is the backbone of the all-new Defender. The all-new Defender has an aluminium or aluminum monocoque structure. Thousands of rivets hold every single panel together to give the stiffest, strongest and safest monocoque ever in the world. I promise you, this is 20 times stiffer than any of the best body-on-frame competition. This vehicle gives you the poise, the control, the solidity, and the absolute feedback of being completely connected. This car can go anywhere with poise and control. But we also in this car, state-of-the-art technology, as I said, aluminium monocoque, we are the world leaders in all that technology. The use of magnesium, ultra-light magnesium beams. What's really, really, really clever about this, as Jerry mentioned with the design, is the skeletal effect of the interior. You see the skeleton coming through, and the rule with the interior of this car simply was, if you don't need it, you don't have it. Less is more. And the stowage this creates, like an old-fashioned series Land Rover, stowage all the way in front, all the way down the sides, you can simply go on an expedition. But also, for 2020, connectivity is key. And for this vehicle, we have an all-new electrical architecture. We've got an Ethernet backbone, and we have what we call 360 scale. It is a first, where there's cameras all the way around the car. You can see one of the cameras here. There's cameras on every periphery of the car, taking images all the way around, constantly with a huge processor, bringing all of those images together. You can see the processor down at the front. All of those images coming together, being fused, so that at any point in time, it operates like a scout. You can see all the way around the car. You can, inside the car, touch the screen, and it is like having a camera following you about. It's like having a GoPro following around the car, and you can see anything. You can go through the tightest maneuvers. You can go down rock faces. You can go over boulder crawls. You can park in a tight parking space. This car can take you absolutely anywhere. But also beneath the skin, this has got the new electrical architecture. This vehicle is always on, which means the minute you open the door, the systems are available, exactly as you would expect with any consumer device. It is always connected. State-of-the-art antenna on the back of the car keeps this vehicle always connected all over the world where signals permit. But it always is also up to date. We have developed software over the air. So just like every consumer device, this car will be continually updated, continually enhanced, and features will be offered as we continue to develop this vehicle. So even after you've lived with one of these cars for 2 years, we will send you the latest operating system, the latest features, and the latest functionality will be sent to this car so customers continue to enjoy the latest up-to-date, always connected capability. But also beneath the skin, look at the capability. Independent rear suspension, drive unit, diff control, permanent four-wheel drive, transfer box, 8-speed gearbox, Ingenium range of engines, incredible capable power packs. We've got an e-machine, 18 kilowatts that goes with this to give you seamless power. It's got an e-turbo with instant response. The minute you just breathe on that throttle, this vehicle is away, pulling you into the sunset, pulling you on your expedition. This car is simply made for going to every corner of the earth and is the vehicle to take on an expedition with you. So I really appreciate your time. Please have a tremendous evening. Please enjoy everything else. And please look forward to experiencing, touching, feeling, and driving this incredible new vehicle that we are just so proud of. So grateful for you to spend the time this evening. Thank you very much.
The new Defender will allow customers to personalize their vehicle in more ways than any previous Land Rover. Aside from 2 body styles in the 110 and soon to be introduced short wheelbase 90, Defender comes with multiple seating arrangements for 5, 6 or 7 passengers and a range of trim levels to suit individual tastes and needs. But it's 4 optional accessory packs that will offer distinct characters for different customers. The Explorer, Adventure, Country and Urban packs, each containing specifically selected ranges of enhancements, will not only allow customers to tailor their vehicles for chosen lifestyles, but will also add some convenience to adventuring in different environments. Let's unpack these, packs and take a peek at the new Above and Beyond collection while we're at it. With around 170 individual accessories and accessory packs, along with an array of colors and options, there are literally thousands of configurations possible to suit all tastes. Land Rover has made it easy to visualize your dream Defender with an augmented reality app for Android and Apple devices. In the YouTube video description below, you can find a link to download this app, spec a Defender with your choice of color, wheels, accessories, options, and view it in 360 degrees. Now, as Richard announced earlier, Kingsley and Ross Holgate will soon take delivery of 2 new Defenders. The vehicles will be used in the Holgate Foundation's humanitarian efforts while outside the borders of South Africa. But of course, this means these Defenders need to be expedition ready and prepared for the rigors of reaching some inhospitable locations if they're to succeed in helping to improve lives. Let's have a look at this preparation process and hear what the Holgates have to say about some of the vital additions and accessories necessary for upcoming expeditions.
Great to be reunited with the triumphant return of the Defender. It's looking great.
Gives me a shiver down my spine. It's unbelievable.
Nudge bar, sturdy winch. We're going to need that for where we're going to be taking these girls.
Look at the protected wheel arches, raised air intake. Also help if we've got some deep wading across rivers to do. Look at this decent, really ladder that just folds up. Easy to climb up. Get to the 6-spare wheel. Get to some of the more humanitarian items.
Real funky, sort of aerodynamic, very modern roof rack. Spare wheel at the back, that's so handy, isn't it? Eh?
Recovery rings at the back.
Very good. And this exterior box for probably emergency supplies. It will be lockable, of course. Put what you need in there, maybe first aid and such like. And really tough looking, and just so many elements of the past Defenders cleverly brought into the design. I like those air intakes there, that's great. Tread plates. And this black to help with the glare. So yeah, all told, just a wonderful package. Can't wait.
It's incredible that you can buy this vehicle exactly like it is, straight from Land Rover.
Yeah.
Ready to go on expedition.
It's an absolute privilege to have with me one of the country's foremost motoring journalists, Willem van der Putte, a man who's had an opportunity to at least have a bit of a drive around, and maybe slightly more than a drive around, in the new Defender. But Willem, absolutely wonderful to be able to catch up with you. But before we actually get a cracking and talking about your experiences, at least recently, how did you get involved in motoring journalism?
Funny you ask. I mean, it's ironic. It was a Land Rover story. It was the launch of the new Puma. They just launched the new Puma Defender, and the then motoring editor at the Saturday Star asked me whether I would like to take it for a drive and a test, knowing that I had an affinity for the brand, and I jumped at the chance. And from there, things just evolved to where I am now, which is the motoring coordinator for independent newspapers.
It's absolutely a wonderful job, because it allows the opportunity to travel, to test out some really wonderful vehicles, and you got a chance to do so with the new Defender in Namibia fairly recently.
We were fortunate to be invited to drive the new Defender in Namibia, and it was just before this whole coronavirus basically put the world into lockdown. And you know, it was an experience, bucket list experience without a doubt, and made even more fantastic because it was a vehicle that the whole world has been looking forward to for ages. And you know, you kind of miss the thing. Like, we were in Namibia, it was fantastic. We could fly and drive, and we didn't have to have masks, and we could sit around the table and share food. And now you think, wow, it's going to take a while before we're allowed to do that again.
Yeah, it feels like a lifetime away. The great thing about Namibia is its uniqueness, unique topography. It's a beautiful country, wonderful opportunities to test the capability of any vehicle, really.
No, absolutely, and that's why Land Rover decided to use the new Defender test there. It's hot during the day, it gets cold at night. There's rocks, there's water, there's sand, there's magnificent fauna and flora. You can drive the car as fast as you want to on long open stretches of dirt road, and you can crawl over rocks, over passes and things that we did there, and it suits the testing ground. It was absolutely perfect for the new Defender.
Yeah, you talk about passes like the Van Pass, for instance, which is a wonderful test. Well, not just of the vehicle, but of the driver as well.
Yeah, you know, we spent the night in the Van Sales camp, which is also a very unique experience. There's no light, so when you look up at the stars, you just see that magnificent stars, and it's just a special place to be. And normally the pass would probably be sort of a grade 4 pass. It's not really that difficult, but the thing is that you're in the middle of nowhere, so there's no communication, there's nothing. So if something does happen, you're a very, very long way from home, and being able to call in somebody to quickly come and repair. And they would, every night, the technicians and the engineers would download the information that that they'd collected on the car that night, and they would then feed that back to head office to tweak certain things that needed to be done. You know, there was an example of in the off-road sand setting, there was a slight delay in the gear change, and also the tire pressure monitor goes off when it's below a certain PSI. But when you're driving sand, you're driving on very low. You're driving on 1 bar, 1.5 bar.
You have to drop the pressure.
So those are the kind of things that they would then tweak before we get to drive the new Defender when it arrives here.
We are focusing on the new Defender, but you're an owner of a previous generation Defender.
Very, very previous generation Defender.
So you do drive it hard, you do take it off-road, you do test it and put it through its paces, which means you've got a really good bird's eye view of the difference between the former, the previous generation and the new Defender.
I know, it's chalk and cheese. You know, there's a lot of comments about the new Defender from traditional Defender owners, you know, saying things like, yes, but can I fix it with a pair of long-nosed pliers and duct tape and a piece of wire when I'm stuck in the middle of nowhere? No, you can't. You know, and quite frankly, there are very few cars that you can fix with just.
And would you want to?
And with common knowledge. Yeah. So you know, Land Rover have done an extremely good job with this new Defender. It's been a passionate exercise for them, and everything is so much better on the vehicle in terms of comfort, in terms of technology, in terms of emissions. It's just so much better in every way you can ever imagine.
Well, before we go and before we wrap up here, I'd like to hear your thoughts on your preference. And you've mentioned you've got a 90, so in your stable a short wheelbase, but do you have a preference? Do you prefer the 110 to the 90?
I'd place an order for a 110 with a full Explorer kit.
Well, time to cross over now to experienced Johannesburg instructor Christo, and Christo is with Kingsley and Ross Holgate at the Holgate Expedition Trail.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Welcome to the Kingsley Holgate Expedition Trail here at Jaguar Land Rover Experience Johannesburg.
Thank you, very exciting, our first test drive.
Looking forward to it. There we go.
There goes, Dwight.
Yeah, really exciting. Our first drive in the new Land Rover Defender 110. How are you feeling?
I've got to be honest, it's flippin' exciting.
Yeah. Chunky. Feels very stable, eh?
There's a lot of technology. It's just to try and get your head around it and work out how to make it as effective as possible.
And I can't reimagine, and it certainly is.
Is that the four-wheel track or you?
Yeah, that's it's sort of got a rigidity to it. It's like I think it's this extra strengthening that they've put in.
We're going to learn a lot about the new features of this vehicle as we drive, as we do more expeditions. But we know the terrain response for four-wheel drive work. But this new Defender has a configurable terrain response, so you can personally set it. You can set the steering wheel to be stronger enough. You can reset the limited slip. There's a whole bunch of things that you can personally configure for yourself with different areas that you drive. So that's absolutely effective. The technology is incredible. Yeah. This makes it so easy.
Yeah.
You don't have to be any professional.
You just have to know what's around the edges. I can't see. But the cameras do that for us.
The camera's going to tell us exactly where we go. There are 5 cameras, but the 5 cameras can manipulate a 3D scenario.
Yes, you see the entire vehicle.
Absolutely entire vehicle.
Well, this is going to be interesting. There's this tiny little sort of log bridge. You just 4 logs. You're going to have to get your wheels exactly. So this is where this camera comes into
clear
sight, ground view. Switch it on. There we go. So this camera tells us exactly where our wheels are. It's wonderful technology.
I know you're so used to having diesels in the Defenders. We've made a radical change and gone for an engine called the P400. It's a 3-litre turbocharged petrol.
Yeah, go like a clapper.
Go like the clapper. There's an electric mild hybrid attached to that, which gets its power from the main engine, and that acts as a sort of electric supercharger.
Okay.
So not does it only increase the performance and the speed and everything of the vehicle, but it actually makes it more fuel efficient, because it's not using fuel to do exactly what's around you.
So yeah, it's a hugely increased technology, but coming with performances, you know, the Land Rover's claim is to have the toughest, most capable 4x4.
Well, that's exactly what it feels like.
This is all part of us.
I keep going up and down these hills.
The car really does it for you. That's what it does. It's hugely technically advanced. See, you know, in looking at the design, it's got this sort of retro feel.
Especially if you look at the back of the vehicle.
Oh yeah, like little round tail lights, reminiscent of the old Defenders with sort of shape at the back. The spare wheel hanging off the back. That's great. So yeah, it has got that retro feel. It's drawn on history. What's great is the way that she just crawls over the obstacles, right?
Very much so.
Leave the car to do its own thing, really.
Absolutely, and you know, the comfort, the not just the seat comfort, but the incredible suspension, that independent air suspension.
Going to
make a huge difference.
Going to be a bit more comfortable than all our old Defender days. Our first river crossing, here we go, sure. Clear sight around you coming here. We've got 3 wheels here. Wow, this thing can over we go. My goodness me. Okay. This is a crazy angle here. And there's more. I mean, my gosh, this articulation is quite something. Of course, viewed all on the camera. And it's more is coming, and I think we're going to drop into this one. Yeah, it's telling us what's going to happen.
Basically, what it seems like it's doing is pre-recording in front and then putting it underneath it.
Yeah, this articulation is quite incredible. Any faster, I think we might have gone over. There would have been
not a great start.
It would have been a terrible start. Ross doing a great job of learning to understand this piece of wizardry. But you're very articulate. I mean, it's quite incredible. Well done, Land Rover.
You just feel that you can jump in this vehicle and go anywhere. You don't actually have to be prepared. You don't have to be a professional off-road driver. And I think that's what sort of a Land Rover epitomizes now, is that you can go out, buy a Land Rover off the showroom floor, hopefully put on a few of these packs, whether it's the adventure pack and the Tour pack, and you're ready to go.
Yep.
You can start just by exploring your own country, and especially at the moment, by possibly throwing in something in the back that's going to do good.
I see that there's a wade program.
There is. The wading depth is something like 900 millimeters.
So we have a 900 millimeters of wading depth and even a wade program. Here we go. Okay. There we go. Okay. And through. Well done. Okay. Whoa. All right. Yeah, and we through. Yep. It's a bit. It's looking a bit steep. What is the approach angle?
Approach angle 38.
38.
Departure 40. So it's quite significant.
Okay. I'm holding on here.
You've got lots of panic angles and grab angles and stuff. So
you
might
give
be
it
a bit of
gears.
slip.
The vehicle
See actually what the performance is in the traction control is.
Does it for you?
See, now you can't see where we're going, but the camera system, absolutely unbelievable.
So we can see
Off-road
exactly,
conditions.
oh my God.
Look at this.
You
can see
I'm
exactly
looking at blue sky here, and the camera's telling us exactly where we are. So I must say it makes it a little bit easier. It makes it a lot safer.
How's that?
And the departure angle. And the departure angle?
40.
40, yeah. Yeah, we are standing on our heads. Triumphant return of the all-new Defenders. Absolutely wonderful. And so looking forward to putting it to the real paces, taking it into Africa, border cross, mountain trucks, goat trucks, no trucks, muddy roads, everything fully laden, all the humanitarian goods on the back, all the supplies. So much to look forward to. So enjoyed this first test drive of the new Defender. It is really an icon reimagined, and so impressed that we're now thinking of the two nicknames that we'll give these two new Defenders. Well done, Land Rover. Congratulations.
As we know, Land Rover and Defender have empowered life's doers through the ages. Since 1954, when a Series 1 was donated to the Red Cross to use as a mobile dispensary in Dubai, to today's deployment of more than 160 vehicles around the world to battle the coronavirus pandemic, Land Rover is committed to providing support in vulnerable communities. Right here in South Africa, Land Rover has made 11 vehicles available to the Red Cross to keep the organization mobile in its efforts to control and minimize the spread of COVID-19. Together, Jaguar Land Rover South Africa, its various ambassadors, the Red Cross, and some other key partners were able to raise more than 520,000 Rand in generous donations from individuals all over South Africa and abroad. This meant we could supply over 167,000 meals to communities in need all over the country during the recent national lockdown through our Feeding SA Together initiative. Campaigns like this are what the new Defender stands for, coming together as a team to leave a positive legacy. The new Defender is capable of great things, and so are we when we come together. The following clip demonstrates this concept perfectly. When we come back, I'll be joining some great South African personalities for a fireside chat.
Today we are collecting Land Rover vehicles as part of the Red Cross's COVID response.
I think there'll be a variety of different uses, going out to do independent living, checking on vulnerable individuals. As emergency response, we'll be there to support the communities and individuals.
The vehicles will be used to help vulnerable people to get their medicines, food, and just to help them in this difficult situation.
Land Rover have helped the Red Cross for a while, and certainly the vehicles that they're providing here, it's an amazing support they're giving us today.
This is a community that is struggling. Most of our people here are unemployed. They don't have money. They're pensioners.
Thank you to Branda Foundation and Sia Coalition. Some of us don't even have all food at home, and we appreciate a lot. May God bless you.
So another incredible day impacting those who so dearly need it, those where food insecurity is at their highest levels ever. It's been phenomenal to see the gratitude, it's been phenomenal to see the sincerity in terms of what people receive. We don't want to stop, but we need you to donate. Go to brianabanafoundation.org, click on the donate button. However small, however big, every little bit helps. You can see the appreciation in this neighborhood. You can see how people are being given hope. And we want to continue doing that, but we need you all to do that for us. So please donate where you can.
With a sort of crisp, cold wind blowing across these Babananga hills, we're here doing what we do best, and that's using our adventures in time to improve the lives of others. And today it's working with the Babanango Game Reserve, an incredible game reserve in the making. Started with a vision, and now the fencing is taking place, and there's this beautiful piece of Africa that's going to be given over to wildlife. But in a situation like this, a miracle of nature, we need to care for the communities alongside these game reserves, and that's what we're doing today. At each one of the distributions, we have Richard Mabanga, who does our community work, has been working with us for years, carefully explaining how to use these nutritional packets of porridge. Mixed with water, make it into a drink, or a thicker version, making it into a porridge. And just in this area alone today, we're going to be doing 10,000 meals.
Well, it's all about coming together. That's what we're about to do. And something I've been looking forward to for quite some time. 3 South Africans, very prominent, who also happen to be global ambassadors for Land Rover. It gives me a great honor to welcome the Holgates and to have Brian Habana. It's a special moment. The thing I didn't understand before this, Brian, is that you've never met the Holgates before.
It's very true. Thanks for having me. A little bit of a starstruck moment, to be brutally honest. I've surprisingly not had the opportunity and privilege to meet the Holgates. Obviously, the folklore, the legend that are the Holgate family, what they've been able to do from a humanitarian perspective, Land Rover ambassadors like through their blood, and I think it has been an absolute privilege, getting to engage in this unique environment with this pretty special car behind us. An absolute pleasure, Holgates. Yeah, I am a little bit starstruck. I do have my autograph pad in my book, in my little side pocket here, so I'm going to be asking for autographs, maybe on my Land Rover Defender if I maybe get one at a later stage. But absolute inspiration, what you are doing and what you have been doing over the course of the last 5-6 decades.
Brian, if you only knew the places we've ended up in Africa, in the roughest, most rural places to support you and watch you play rugby. Really brought the whole South Africanism again. So thank you so much for all of that. It was good times.
And yes, Brian, what a pleasure for us to meet you, and that same energy that you put into all your rugby try scoring, that energy and that passion that you now also put into doing good work. So a huge pleasure.
I think so. I think another commonality that we actually do share is the number 15. I know that you, and again I do a bit of studying and a bit of history, you've had 15 defenders, and I was fortunate enough to score 15 tries in my Rugby World Cup career. But what I do want to ask, I didn't name any of the tries I scored. Apparently there's a folklore about the naming of your defenders. How true is that?
Yes, it's many a campfire story, Ross, of naming our Land Rovers, and here we are. This is a celebration in itself. You know, sitting around a fire, celebrating the triumphant return of the new Defender, an icon reimagined, guys, isn't this lovely? And I'm glad that we're doing it around a fire, you know, talking stick in hand, in dugus or peppermula as they call it, the stick that gives you the power to breathe words. So yeah, having a lot of fun. But on the subject of Land Rover nicknames, right, every Land Rover we've ever had, every Defender we've ever had has had a nickname. And it's amazing how those Defenders have grown into the spirit of that nickname. You know, sometimes you name a child and it sort of becomes, it's wonderful, you know. I know we spent a decade, more than a decade, for example, following in the footsteps of the early explorers in our old Land Rover Defenders. Of course, they had names like Livingston and Stanley and Burton, and those two great African characters, Chuma and Susi. And then, of course, even a little 90, you know, the little short wheelbase Defender, of course, that got called Spoilegile, to be spoilt. But yeah, so a lot of African names there, Ross, for our Defenders over the years.
You know, it's very important, us being African as well and spending so much time adventuring in Africa, that we give some of these heroes of adventure some African names. And I remember
doing probably the toughest expedition that we've ever done. We went off in a Land Rover 130 Defender, aptly named in Ndlovogaz, which means the she-elephant. And the objective of that expedition was to find the geographic center point of the African continent. Every other continent has its center point, its geographic point apart from Africa, and we set off in Land Rover Defenders to discover this point. I mean, and as a family in these Defenders, we've had the opportunity to adventure to every single African country, over 1 million kilometers in Defenders. And, you know, to this day, we still have, as part of our Defender team, a 130 Land Rover. It's had a few names. One of them was Stomach, because it used to carry a lot of the food supplies. The other one was Mothership, because it used to carry so many mosquito nets on top of the roof rack. But it was recently nicknamed and given the honor of Mashozi in honor of my late mother. So yeah, very, very.
How far back does this history, this tradition and this link to the Defender go in your family?
Yeah, a long time. I mean, thinking back, one of my first Land Rovers I remember was an old yellow Series 1, you know, one of those little shorties, a real character. And I taught Ross to drive in that vehicle. I think he was about 5 years old. You know, you started early in those days. Remember, Kola, you were recounting your early experiences in the Eastern Cape?
Yeah, it wasn't illegal then at all.
Well, and there was Ross, 5 years old, you know, a block of driftwood on the accelerator to keep him going, sit him up on the cool box. And at first it was okay, so you know, I was running a bit fitter than I call it, running next to the vehicle. Next minute it took off, on sir. And a few kilometers down the road there, I found Ross, 5 years old, up against the tree, the engine still running like a tears streaming down his cheeks. He's been driving Land Rovers ever since.
And I still cry every time I get free.
Yo, Brian, you brought up the issue of nicknames. Have you ever named a car?
No. I've been very fortunate to have been a part of the Land Rover family for just on a decade now, and I've heard that the attachment shouldn't be too great because I'm a city boy. So again, great stories. I know my wife definitely has had a few names for her cars, but I've veered away X. I think it's rather err on the safe side.
Ross, what about the new babies behind you? Have they been christened yet? Do they have names yet? Are you even going to?
They're definitely going. But just to go back a notch, Paul and Brian, you know, we both have young kids. Yeah. And you know, we're all sort of part of this family, this Land Rover family, this Defender family. And you know, Kingsley and I, a couple of years ago, we decided to buy a Series 1 Land Rover, 1953 Series 1 as part of a little collection. And often we would sort of get together, have a little bit of a bra, look at this vehicle in the sort of sunset and the likes of. And my youngest daughter would disappear for hours, and we would look up and down for her and eventually find her lying fast asleep on the front seat of this vehicle. So we aptly named her the Series 1 after my daughter Scarlett. And you know, so many people have opportunities to leave their daughters different things. You know, whether it's a farm or a business or something like that. We're going to leave her that Series 1 Land Rover so that she too can form part of this Land Rover family.
So the story continues.
But these ones, they're absolutely beautiful. And we're still kind of in awe, but they have to find their own character and they will eventually find their own names.
Do you think you'd be keen on a round-the-world trip if these two gentlemen opted to do it, Brian?
Listen, X, I've seen where they go to. You know, I, on the rugby field, was very hesitant to go to the racks. I left it for the people that can do it, the Bucky's Birches of the world, the Skulkbergers of the world. I've seen where the Holgates have taken Defenders, not only in Africa, not only in South Africa, but globally. So, I mean, I might be able, if there's an airport close by to one of their stops, to one of the villages, and if it's a private charter flight, you know, and I can consider maybe going for half a day.
With a hotel room.
But maybe somewhere along the line, if I hard enough, you know, maybe grow a beard. Might take 20 years, Mr. Holgate. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, I'll put my name on the waiting list.
Yeah,
great stuff. You'd be welcome.
I have to ask you. I mean, you've had Land Rovers, and in particular, you've had Defenders for so many years, and so many of them, 15 of them, and they've changed, they've adapted. Things have changed. More roads in Africa than possibly there were 20, 30 years ago. With this changing capability, are you able to do more, King, Ross? Are you able to explore places that you previously weren't able to,
well,
given the equipment you've got at hand now?
Well, it's made it a lot more comfortable. And you know, as my beard gets a bit grayer, it's going to be really nice to slide out of one of these new Land Rover Defenders. So they are incredibly capable. You know, these newer vehicles, we shouldn't think that because things change with time. I mean, it's many years since the first Land Rover was sketched in the sand by Maurice Wilkes in 1947 on a beach in Wales in Anglesey. But when you think of how these vehicles have developed over the years, but they remained extremely capable. So to answer your question, will we be able to take these vehicles? First driven in them today, it's been a real pleasure and an honor. Will we be able to take them to places where we haven't been to before? Most certainly, yes. And we'll keep you posted and of course invite you to come along. But we'll show everything that Africa has to throw at these vehicles. And you know, and Land Rover are saying that their belief is that these are the most capable off-road 4x4s ever developed, and we're going to prove it.
But you're not necessarily traditionally, Brian, a Defender driver. You like me, we city boys. Range Rover, has that been your bag, and are you now tempted to make the switch?
Yeah, Range Rover is my go-to, and I've been fortunate to have been in one for the better part of the last decade. I'm now in, I raced against a cheetah while I was playing. I'm now racing against tortoises, and I'm not saying that the three gentlemen to my right are tortoises, but maybe if you're not looking, one of these might just slip away. I mean, this white and black, it actually looks incredible. I know my 2- and 6-year-old would absolutely love climbing up this ladder and getting on the roof. I've seen the tent that comes as one of the added accessories, which I know, sitting under the African sky, being able to look up at the stars would go down pretty well. My wife might not be so tempted into that tent, but yeah, Exo, I mean, I'm not quite sure how much longer this chat's going to go on.
Yeah.
You three are more than welcome to go on a bit longer, and if I quietly disappear with a new Land Rover Defender,
I'm waiting for you, Oaks, to fall asleep.
I'm hoping the tracking system's not working or hasn't been activated at the moment.
Let's not tempt fate, let's not test it, but Kingsley, Ross, you've spent a lot of time not just on the road, not just exploring, but helping people. I think that's pretty much at the heart of what you do. Yes, you bring Africa to us, you take South Africa to Africa, but it's ultimately been about helping people. And Brian, it's something you've also been involved in, and I'll start with you, Ross.
We have this wonderful motto, family motto. It's to use these Land Rover adventures to save and improve lives. You know, before when we started, it was all about the adventure. And, you know, unashamedly, we are adventurers. It's what we do. But that sense, at the end of the day or the beginning of the day, to be able to give something back to the people of Africa makes the journey worthwhile and gives it a true purpose. Our initiatives weren't just something that we came across that we thought were cool or extremely needy at that time. They were initiatives that affected us personally directly as well. You know, from a malaria perspective, Kingsley's had it, I think nearly, I stand to be corrected, but over 50 times. I'm on nearly 30. Sheila's had it a few times. My wife's had it 5 times. So every member of the family and the team have had it. So we set out to distribute mosquito nets to pregnant mothers and children under the age of 5, those most effective. Then we picked up on the water purification campaign, the distribution of water filters to extremely nomadic areas. And then Right to Sight, a fascinating campaign that was started by my late mother whilst we were doing the Tropic of Capricorn, a journey to circumnavigate the entire globe. We came across a very elderly man who was about to be kicked out of his home. He lived in a national park and he had fallen into the river once. And so the Parks Authority said, no, he has to go. He's a danger to himself. My mother just looked at him while he was sort of talking with the rangers and said, no, there's something odd here. And she took out a pair of her spectacles and placed them on his head. And he went inside, made us a cup of tea, and said that was all that I needed. And they let him stay. So that started a campaign called Right to Sight. And lastly, we have a local conservation program called Community Conservation Education, which educates young kids on the preservation of wildlife on our continent. So it's part of what we are and what we do.
Yeah, Brian, I mean, you left a massive footprint on the rugby world, but you're doing more so now, and it's wonderful that you've partnered up with Land Rover, and I think you probably need to get into a Defender to like just push the envelope out a little further. But what have you been up to? What have you been involved in? And I know you've been also had your heart set on helping people.
I think from a humanitarian perspective, you look at this new team Defender, and it's almost about a like-minded community, coming together and going above and beyond and putting others' needs above themselves, and making sure that hopefully as a humanitarian conglomerate we can come together and be better. And being able to give back, particularly during this COVID period, I know Land Rover and Team Defender are giving a financial contribution both to the Brian Urbana Foundation and the Holgate Foundation, and in so doing being able to continue making a difference, particularly for me where food insecurity has been so rife during the course of this pandemic. And hopefully in doing that we can make sure that one is better than zero, that we continually make that difference, and that we go in above and beyond to show that within us as humans, if we collaborate, we can show what we're capable of. And if this vehicle doesn't speak about capability and what can be possible, if you really apply your mind, I don't think anything will.
We certainly have to touch on COVID before we wrap it up. And obviously the foundation has been running and you've done so many wonderful things, but the need now is slightly different, gentlemen.
Yes, indeed. What would you do during COVID? Would you sit at home and not worry about anybody else? Or would you join the front line and do something with your life? And it's up to everybody. We've all got it in us. And the way we treated this sort of difficult time in our lives, it was also a team of sportsmen. Joe Peterson, we were talking about him earlier on, the rugby player. Carl Abbott, he's also home from playing cricket in Hampshire. And a bunch of us sort of caring conservationists really got together and thought, what could we do with Land Rovers over this time of COVID? And so the program simply called Feeding the Wildlife Community, and it's about going out to needy communities that live alongside game reserves and conservation areas, distributing nutritional porridge packs to aid to improve nutrition over this time, especially with winter coming and hunger and the cold biting. So to date with Land Rover and the team, we've been able to do in excess of 300,000 meals. We've been to very far-flung areas wherever there's wildlife and people. And I must say the appreciation in people's eyes, camping out in the bush, sharing campfires, and using this time not as a time of gloom, but using this COVID time as a time for caring. So, hey Ross, it's been fun. We've kept it fun.
And it's really, what it's really done, I think, especially Brian, we spend so much time away from our home country, doing so much good work in the rest of Africa. It's just made us realize again that charity starts at home, and we need to look after each other. It's really brought the communities together and created this movement. So, as we wait, it's quite frustrating for us, and I feel like I'm actually sort of backslung in a catapult waiting for the borders to open so we can start to explore. It's a bit of a bad mindset. We need to look after what is around us. So, as soon as we get the keys for these defenders, the first thing that we're going to do is something for South Africans. We're going to continue the sort of movement of, and Brian, I really think that we need to work together as well going forward to come visit you down in Cape Town and get involved and do stuff together, because, it's all about family and it's all about Team Defender.
I remember, if I just might add just shortly, I remember ending a Land Rover expedition to track the outline of Africa. 449 days, 33 countries, living like this every night, tracking the entire outline. And then at the end of the journey, crossing back into our motherland, into South Africa, from Mozambique into South Africa, jumping out of the Defenders and kissing the tarmac. We'd arrived back in our own home and sitting around a fire like this that night. And I said to the other team members, man, it had been a journey. I said, if you had to do this again, face all those challenges, the dangers, the deserts, the mountains, would you do the humanitarian work? Or would you just concentrate on the journey? Because the journey in itself is tough enough. And to a man and to a woman, those people sitting around the campfire that night said, wouldn't change it. We have to use these adventures, these landy adventures, to improve and save lives. It's our duty, it's our passion, and we love it. And you know what, as we all know, Brian, it doesn't have to be boring. Doing good stuff can be such good fun. That's what I like.
Well, it's certainly fascinating to chat to you gentlemen, and we will continue chatting, but to those of you watching this, we're going to say a hearty farewell. And I mean, after listening to this, don't forget, and I think it goes to show that Defender's heart is in Africa. There's so much to look forward to, even in these tough times. I look forward to seeing you gentlemen continue to share the love, which I think is probably the key message, the key story, and to continue on your adventures. And we'll certainly be following you very closely, Brian, in your new adventures as well. Likewise, I think absolutely wonderful that you've remained part of this family for so long. Thank you at home for joining us as we unveil yet another chapter in this very proud history and tradition. And we hope that we are able to bring you some of the passion, and that you share some of the passion for what is a phenomenal vehicle. But it's about the people, it's about the stories, and that is the story of Land Rover in Africa. We look forward to hearing more stories from you, and we look forward to seeing how much more you can achieve. We'll keep chatting as we say goodbye to all of you watching at home. Cheers.
Introducing the new Defender. Just the thing for those little everyday trips. Good in heavy traffic. Perfect for catching up with the relatives. Then dropping into the car wash en route. Giving someone a helping hand, or beating the commute, and putting your feet up after a long day.